Bwaaa!
Bwaaa trash fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. Dad drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares, but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
So we are talking about BlendJet. We got a sponsorship deal from a company called BlendJet.
Yeah,
they make these little
BlendJet.
handheld blenders, and like you literally just take the blender wherever you go, which is amazing.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's got like
It's so cool.
a pulse mode. It's got everything.
You can
It's-
take the whole thing out and clean it all and all that stuff. Look, it's off center.
Oh, that way when it spins, it spins like this,
And it won't
spins.
spin while the thing's off
No,
either.
it's a safety
oh,
feature.
it's so nice.
Yeah, it's got a safety feature. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so it spins and it spins. So I think
Very cool.
it spins like this while I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
But
I
this
love
is the next gen blender.
I like these Disney ones though. They're
Yeah,
kinda cool.
I do like that. That's pretty cool that they sent you these for
Yeah.
the promos.
Yeah.
They sent you the cool stuff. Instead
Well,
of
I
sending
was
stuff
able
in
to
plan.
pick out colors and designs and
Oh,
stuff.
cool,
They have
cool.
like 20 of them or something.
Oh, they do. Awesome.
Yeah.
What other stuff do they have?
They have one that looks like Woody from Toy Story. They have one that just has Mickey Mouse heads and stuff on it. They have one that looks like Minnie Mouse. And then the rest of them are either one solid color or like pearlescent type colors, stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh,
All right.
awesome.
Well, welcome. A weird opening for us, but welcome to a That Ain't Right Friday. And we have an idea for this one for Bwaaa, King of the Hill podcast. I'm Mike. That's
And
Rusty.
I'm Rusty.
Yep.
Yep.
Um,
And this is the sound of a BlendJet.
that's right. That's right. New sponsor. You'll hear about them next week.
Not a pocket pussy, a BlendJet.
Oh my God.
This one would be devastating.
That would be devastating. Yeah. Do
This
not
one
stick
would,
anything but liquids and
Yeah, this one would be
solids in that.
devastating for you. So yeah, there we go. BlendJet, everybody.
So today's That Ain't Right Friday, it comes from an idea from producer Mason, who is in the other room recording something else right now, comic book podcast we have called Bros, Foes, and Heroes. He does a thing with Zach about the comic book pulls for the week. So that's what they're in there doing right now while we're recording this.
Comic book pulls for the week, you said. Huh?
Yeah. Now, Mason's idea was, what is Hank Hill like in the year 2023? So this feeds into a little bit of the reboot. It feeds into, we got an email that said, that they're not crazy about the reboot, all that kind of stuff. So
I could imagine him watching like a celebrity pro-am
yeah.
golf tournament with Caitlyn Jenner, and him just being like, "I remember when she was a boy."
Yeah, sure,
I could just see something like that.
It doesn't. The thing is, he doesn't mean anything bad by it.
No, he doesn't mean anything
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, he really doesn't. But I can see how people would take him on surface as being,
Being negative, yeah.
anti-ally or whatever.
Anti anything, yeah. But he's not. I don't think he is at all.
So, 2023. So this is how many years after it stopped?
Stopped in 2009, so
Okay.
whatever the math is,
So it's 14
on that.
years.
So 14 years,
Right.
almost. It'll probably be close to 15 years by the time they air the show.
So let's say Hank was, 42 is probably a good estimate, don't you think?
Easy.
42
Yeah,
to
easily a good
45.
estimate,
Let's
yeah.
say 45. Okay. Then you add 14 to that. So he is now 59 years old. I would say Hank is 59, 60, somewhere between 60 and 62.
Yeah, yeah.
So 62-year-old man in the year 2023. That even beats me by a few years. I think with all of the stuff that is going on.
Well, he was born in 1953, so he's a little bit older than that.
So he's 70.
So he's actually 70 now.
70 years old. Wow.
So that even that changes it even more.
It does. Hank's been through a lot of decades. 7 to be exact.
I can't believe he was in his 40s.
Yeah.
In the so in the show he was in his 40s.
Late 40s.
Late 40s. Yeah.
So let's start with the pandemic. How do you think Hank would have reacted to the pandemic? This was a 2.5 year thing that we all went through. We stupidly fought over vaccinations. We all had those drive-through moments where we got a thing stuck up our nose and all this stuff. How do Hank and the Hill family react to this?
I don't know. I think it would be. I think a lot of people would be surprised.
Yeah.
How he would react. I don't know. I think he would react. At first, even at first, I think everybody had a little bit of, oh, what's this kind of thing. So I think that at the very beginning of it, Hank would have probably played along with everything. Yeah. Because he's not a government conspiracy
he's
guy.
Not, and he's very much a rule follower.
And he follows the rules.
Yeah.
So if it's something that is makes sense in the grand scheme of things, I think Hank goes with it. Maybe doesn't just ride along with shots and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like Hank would have been one of the guys that just wore a mask. Or, well, what does it hurt kind of thing? Like, it really doesn't affect my day-to-day life just putting a mask on to go to a grocery store. So what the hell, So I feel like Hank wouldn't have put up no big argument or fuss. He would have just wore the mask because,
I can see Peggy having a bigger problem with it than Hank does.
And I don't even think Peggy would have that big of an issue with it. I feel like Peggy would want to, I feel like in a condescending way, she would follow all the rules with it and push the vaccine and everything just because she would want to be intelligent. Oh, I'm intelligent. I read this article where it says that we should all get the shot. Or I read this, or I read that, or the news said this, or the news said that.
Well, I mean, we all know how Dale would react. I mean, he's going to freak out.
I think he would freak out. I think Dale would.
I think Dale would almost. I think he'd almost be happy about it.
I think he would recluse. I think he would be
Lock
in the
himself
woods.
in the basement.
It would be that like the episode where they had to go hunt him down in the woods. I think it would be one of those situations. He'd be in the woods and they'd have to go hunt him down. It'd be a whole episode about them hunting him down to bring him back because he's going nuts.
I think Bill is one of those guys that wears his mask under his nose.
Yeah,
just covering his mouth, right?
Yeah.
I think Bobby would have followed whatever rules his dad told him to follow.
Yeah, I think he would have just did whatever his mom and dad said.
Yeah. I don't think Hank would have had a problem with any of it. I think he's like, we trust the government. They're supposed to do what this and
maybe
that's what they're doing.
Maybe he might have been leery about the shot stuff, but I feel like with the mask and everything, I feel like he would have just rode with it. He would have just, hey, it's the right thing. Everybody's wearing a mask. Why would I be the one that's not?
Well, now we're coming. Now let's say we come out of the pandemic. More Blendjet ASMR for you.
Yeah, their packaging is really
very
tight.
Nice. Yeah,
it's nice packaging, but it fits in there very, very, very tightly.
Yeah, well, it's the first time. So
is this like a new company? I mean,
no, they've been around for a long time.
Okay, I've never heard of them before.
They're huge on the internet. Like they're all over the place. Okay, so we come out of the pandemic.
So I can make like videos and stuff with it.
Supply chain, I think, would be an issue for Hank. Especially in the propane
supply
game.
Chain, yeah, maybe he doesn't like that, maybe because that might present issues.
That's what I'm saying for Strickland.
Well, actually, I don't know because people don't just lose the need to have energy. So
no,
I feel like the business would have done fine.
What I'm thinking is maybe they're having a hard time getting parts or tanks or things like that.
Yeah, maybe a slowdown of the product, like how they're getting it, or I think it just becomes more expensive.
All those grills come from China, so.
Yeah, I think it just because it becomes more expensive.
Yeah. I think that's really the only way it would affect him necessarily.
Yeah, I think that like maybe some of the things that he might like pop culture wise.
Sure. I think probably we would have
Chipotle. I think Hank would be a huge fan of Chipotle or like Freebirds, like something like that. Those type of places.
You can build your own.
It's a build your own burrito factory.
It's a build your own burrito. And why anybody would just put that in a bowl is beyond me.
Yeah. That's the only thing. The only thing that hates about Chipotle is the bowl.
How dare they take away them tortillas?
Yeah, the tortillas.
You know how hard they work to make them tortillas?
Yeah.
I think that would affect Bobby more than anything, is food shortage kind of stuff.
I think that would be a place where the whole family would enjoy eating together. Would be a Chipotle Freebird. I think the fast casual casual kind of places like Freebirds.
Well, we've already seen
those
it in
kind of
Ponchos,
places.
right?
Yeah. And then
They all get
'cause
dressed up.
Ponchos is dead in this society. You know, in this 2023 world, Ponchos, it died. It's not a.
Well, there are
the
a few.
The buffet, as it were, is dead for millennials and Gen Z. Millennial and Gen Z do not want to eat at buffets.
Yeah, not many buffets are making it these days.
Buffets are generally, when you go to a buffet, it's generally filled with elderly. You know,
So-
from what I've seen, like you go to Golden Corral, it is usually a bus from the old folks' home.
I think that
out
probably
front.
shut down Sugarfoot's.
Yeah.
I think Sugarfoot's is
I think
closed.
Sugarfoot's is probably closed. Sugarfoot's was probably closed before this, and
Probably.
so is Luli's.
Tainted grease, something like that.
Well, not even that. Just
Well, we saw Luby's die
Yeah,
in
we
our
watched Luby's die in our lifetime.
Yeah.
I watched them
Yeah.
mow Luby's. I literally
Yeah.
watched the entire process of Luby's being destroyed and then building a QT gas station in its place.
Which I am
also
not opposed
watched-
to, by the way.
I'm not opposed to it either. I like QT.
Have I told you about their breakfast pizza?
Oh, the breakfast pizza is pretty good.
Oh, my
they have
goodness.
an actual kitchen, like an actual functioning
Yeah.
kitchen, so they actually make decent food stuff. They
Their
also
breakfast
have
pizza is amazing.
what are they tore down the old bank.
Yeah, American
Get a
Bank.
Chick-fil-A now
Yeah.
in the space that they
That American
saved building
Bank,
a new bank.
If anybody out there listening ever wants to see what we're talking about as far as the bank, you can watch Old Man with a Gun, which was filmed
Charlton
there
Heston?
at the bank.
Charlton Heston?
No.
No.
Anyway, I don't know.
It was somebody. It was some.
but it was
some
recent. Like it was
famous
in the
old man.
last
What's it
5
called?
years.
Old Man
with a Gun. Yeah, 5 or 6 years. I
The
think.
Old Man and the Gun, 2018.
18, so 5 years.
Oh, I said Charlton Heston. I was thinking one of them old guys. It was Robert Redford, though.
Yeah.
Robert
But that's
Redford.
filmed in that bank. So if you if anybody wants to know what that bank looked like, there you go.
Yeah,
It's a
well, and that's
historical
the reason
document now.
why they used that bank for that movie is because that bank was it looked
It looked like the 70s.
on the interior
60s, 70s.
It looked just like it did the day it was built. They
It's
never
true.
updated it for
It's true.
2023.
Yeah.
So instead, they leveled it and built a
Super
a similar-
weird to drive by it now and it not be there.
It still has the curved edge on the
Yeah,
front, but it
yeah. It's
used
a
to
whole
be
different-
the round bank. It was a completely circular.
It was cool.
Building.
It was cool.
Yeah, it was a cool
it's like the
little,
Astrodome, or
yeah,
something
well,
like that.
for this area especially, it was also positioned where that is right there, Mike. What a lot of people don't know, that intersection is the busiest intersection in McLennan County. So
I
the
don't doubt
entire
it,
county,
yeah.
that intersection, and it's funny because it's in it's Belmead, Lacey Lakeview. It's like suburb area, but it's the busiest intersection right
It
there.
basically connects 3 cities: Waco,
Yeah.
Lacey Lakeview, and Belmead.
And that's why there's like 5 gas stations right there in one
there's a ton of
intersection.
them,
there's
yeah.
tons
a
of them there.
McDonald's, a Burger King.
Yeah,
I mean,
everything.
everything's right there. Whataburger.
And it's growing, that
Yeah,
area right there.
yeah,
They're building
definitely.
so much.
Lots of hotels.
They've got a they got the ER now, the clinic, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just
There used to be a great theater there. Shulman 5 was there.
oh, the theater right next to
Yeah.
where the Atwoods.
Yeah. that was
Funny
right
story
there.
about that theater. So when we were kids, we were urban exploring. We were urban explorers, right? So we had a friend that was big enough to slide through the ticket window. As small as that ticket window, that shows
Oh
you
my
how that shows
gosh.
you how old we were
Yeah, no
doing
kidding.
this.
Right.
So we got him into there, and we used it as a playground and a fun place to hang out for better part of the 2000s and late 2000s.
I used to play pool with Mark Shulman, one of the owners.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Yeah, we had ransacked it. There was old movie posters, there's like a bunch of stuff that was left whenever they left the building. This is like years after it was closed.
After they tore it down, you could go through the rubble and get seats and stuff out of it.
Yeah,
and I should have done it, and I didn't do it, and I feel bad.
One of my friends somewhere, he had one of the speakers,
Oh yeah.
and he had put it in his truck.
Oh wow.
So somewhere there is one of these massive movie speakers in some 90s Chevrolet pickup truck, if it still exists.
That's so cool.
But whenever he hooked it up to the amp and turned it on,
Yeah.
it was just like this one big massive. It wasn't like having a 10 or a 12-inch subwoofer or a 15-inch subwoofer. It was like a 35 or a 40-inch subwoofer. So the sound off of it was insane, but it still worked. It was still a good speaker that just got left. We accidentally one time lit a row of seats on fire and
Oh my gosh.
abandoned the place and just left. And apparently the fire put itself out because it was never on the news.
Oh, wow.
The statute of limitations is up. That's why I'm comfortable talking about it. Yeah, it gets
Yeah.
even crazier than that. But I'm not gonna incriminate myself any more than that.
The Shulman brothers, I believe they started in College Station, Texas, where
So
Texas
they had a bunch
A&M
of different
is.
theaters then.
And then they opened 2 theaters here in town. One was
How do you even open a theater? Because how do you even get access to motion? Do you have to like call like Universal and be like, oh, well, we're opening a movie theater?
Well, there's distributors out there that provide it.
People that do that.
And so
Okay.
they deal with all the companies. So there's a middleman in between that.
Yeah, because you used to do movies too. So
Yeah.
because you used to get like movies pre-release, right?
Yeah,
Or
but okay.
did you get screeners, like pre-release
yes,
screeners?
tons
and
of
stuff?
screeners, and those were always the coolest.
Getting to see the movie like 2 weeks before everybody else.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah. And I also had a buddy of mine that was assistant manager at a bunch of different movie theaters here in town.
Yeah.
And so we would go on Thursday nights to watch it after midnight, after the last showing. We'd go to watch whatever is going to be released the next day.
Oh, that's awesome.
And if you brought a bag or something to put it in, you take all of the leftover popcorn that they had already made, and you just take it out in there and you eat it.
Yeah.
So saw a lot of movies that way. Fell asleep in a lot of movies that way because it was very late.
Bwaaa trash fight all through the night. Deep in the heart of Texas.
Okay, so we talked about that. I think that
The Arlen Theater, what happens to it? Is it still alive?
I
Or
think
they
it's
gotta
shut
drive.
down.
They
Yeah.
got to drive to Dallas at this point
Yeah,
to go
I think
watch
it's
a
shut
movie.
down.
Yeah.
I think that the lack of people.
Are they even still in Arlen at this point? Is Arlen even still
No,
alive?
they're still in Arlen. They're still there.
I don't think they are. I think that what happens is Arlen is completely dead as a town. And when Hank retires, Hank actually retires to Florida, and Bobby lives in Arlington.
No, come on.
I think that's
They're
what
all
happens.
still in Arlen.
And then I think
can't
what
give
the
up
whole
that dream.
I think the whole show coming back is Hank moving back to Arlen
Yeah.
after not being in Arlen
Yeah.
for all of his retirement. Like he's done spent at the end of the show, everybody kind of leaves Arlen. Bobby gets older, kind of moves away, does his own thing. So I think that Bobby is actually a cheerleader for University of Texas.
He's one
a
of those
cheerleader. This is
jumpers
another
and
fan theory
people
coming
that-
off the top of my head right as we're riffing here. So I think that Bobby is in University of Texas. He's a cheerleader for University of Texas.
Yeah.
At this point, he followed Khan followed him. Sorry, not Khan.
Khan Jr.
Khan Jr. followed
Connie,
him.
yeah.
Connie. She follows him. She actually has a scholarship to go to Princeton, or she gets multiple opportunities to go to him. But instead, she goes to UT to stay with Bobby. Hank then comes back from Florida because now Bobby is graduated. So this is where we're at now with the
Where's
new,
Peggy?
Peggy's with
she's
Hank.
still with
She just
Hank.
goes wherever
Okay.
Hank
Okay.
goes. You know.
All right.
So
I think
they
she's
come
teaching
back.
Spanish online.
Online Spanish, to Chinese kids.
The Chinese.
And she's teaching online Spanish to Chinese kids.
all incorrect.
Yeah, that's even worse.
That's how we win the war.
Yeah,
right there.
you go.
That's it.
And I think that Hank and Peggy moved back to help Bobby and Con Jr. with their new child that they're about to have.
Very well could
and I
be.
think that Bobby actually works at, he ends up getting a job at Arlen High School as a
Substitute teacher.
as a cheerleading teacher, a cheerleading coach.
Oh,
I think
maybe,
that Bobby
yeah.
is like the cheerleading prep rally teacher person or whoever they have that does that.
I think Hank
And,
maybe
he
opens.
teaches Spanish, but he teaches Spanish properly. I think should be the funny joke.
Oh, yeah.
Is that he
Yeah.
goes and actually gets a degree to learn how to speak Spanish while he's doing his cheerleading thing. So he gets a teaching degree to certified to teach Spanish. So he goes and he listens to his mom speak Spanish badly, and he has to play along with it all the time. And he
That's
has to
fantastic,
correct what
yeah.
she says in his mind, but never actually corrects her, kind of thing. I think
I
that'd be
think
good.
Hank maybe gets to open a bait and tackle shop or something like he's always
Like a
wanted.
mom and pop store.
Yeah.
I think that him and
Like the
him
one that
and-
what's his name
at
burnt
the
down.
lake. Yeah, I think that they have a seasonal because out at TPNL, which is a local lake here that used
Texas
to be
Power and Light.
used. Used to be used for.
They have a big lake that they use to cool down the reactors or whatever they use in there.
Yeah, it used to actually they used to use it. I think to generate power. Actually, They
That's
used to
true,
use
and I think they used it to cool
lake.
down the machines too.
Yeah.
But there, a lot of alligator gar in that.
A lot of alligator gar, a lot of redfish too, a lot of
alligator
channel
gar.
cat and redfish
Yeah.
type stuff.
It was a
But,
great lake, though.
It was a good lake, but at the lake
Too
they
bad we
had a
had to get
seasonal
rid of it.
store. No, it's actually
I know.
Yeah, it's actually still there.
I don't know how you get rid of a lake.
Well, I heard that if a pond freezes over with a bunch of ducks in it and they
Yeah.
fly away,
yeah.
Do you know what movie that's from?
No.
That reference? It's Kate Winslet and Jim Carrey.
Oh. Is it
Eternal
they're
Sunshine?
watching? Oh,
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah.
In that, they tell a story about ducks landing it and then flying off to Montauk.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
or something. I don't know. But yeah, so I see him at the lake. He has like a seasonal store. And it's just like a seasonal open during like spring to fall kind of thing. The summer season
selling
type
crack
deal.
to fishermen,
selling fishing bait. Yeah, selling crack, selling street fishing bait. Yeah, so
fentanyl to
fentanyl
fishermen. At this point, yeah,
getting the fish, doping them up real good.
Well, it kills them instantly, and you just scoop them up.
Yeah, so you just dump it over the water, come back the next day, and
it's the dynamite of baits.
Yeah, panning for fish. No, I think Hank wouldn't have too many issues in a new world.
No, I think Hank rolls with stuff pretty quick. I think the biggest thing that Hank would have a problem with is the new staffing shortage. People just not wanting to work.
Not wanting to work.
Yeah. I think that's the thing he would have the biggest problem with.
And you know what? I think that what would end up happening there, you'd have one of these episodes where Hank actually discovers what it's like to be like he gets
unemployed or something.
Maybe he doesn't he doesn't feel the direct effect of it, but somebody educates him in a way that he like clicks in his head, and he's like, oh well, he was like $15 an hour. Well, that's what I was making, that's great money. That's what I was making in 1995.
Sure.
Somebody lets him realize that $15 in 1995 is not the same $15 in 2023.
Sure.
So like when he finally realized, inflation. Oh damn, inflation got all of it. Then I feel like Hank would be on the worker side more than I think
Peggy's driving a lift.
I think
she
Peggy
loves
has
it.
to.
She loves it.
She loves it
because she gets the little waters and she prepares the car the right way and all that stuff.
And she refuses. She refuses to let you put your headphones in and listen to music.
That's right.
Makes you talk to
She makes you talk to her.
Well, she's made a playlist.
Or she's one of those people that, or she's one of those.
Cassette playlist.
A cassette playlist. Yeah, it's cassette only.
Still
cassettes, 8
yeah.
tracks.
Yeah.
Have you ever?
I just love the warm sound of a cassette player.
Have you ever like been in a major city and gotten an Uber and they like, hey, what kind of music do you like?
Yeah.
That's how she would be. She would be like, well, what kind of music do you like? And then when she was done listening and getting all these eclectic music, she would go home and she would tell Hank, oh well, Hank, I heard this crazy music this guy showed me from wherever this guy would be from.
It's called Gangnam Style.
Yeah, there was a guy from Somalia. This is the Somalian national anthem.
Yeah,
Somalian national anthem. This girl told me to listen to this person named Cardi B.
Yeah, and then she's in there.
No, also you're wrong on one aspect of their Russ.
I heard a song about wet privates.
She wouldn't ask. She would just automatically assume. She would already have pre-designed playlists based on based on the age and maybe race of a person.
She may have a whole thing.
Some young black kids. She get in the car and she starts playing like Young NBA or something like that.
Yeah. She opens like a big case and it's just nothing but cassettes and it's listed by race, region, age, all that stuff. Yeah,
old Asian.
Old Indian guy, and then she puts on some sitar music. Like,
would you like wet blank blank, or would you like? Yeah. Can you imagine wet ass pussy coming on for Hank and Peggy?
No, I think Peggy would never allow that. No, she'd play it once.
I really
because it's only listed as WAP. She would play it once.
It's about this soaking wet pussycat. It's so
I know
funny.
It's never going to happen, but it would be great if they had like extra content that they do outside of the show.
Yeah,
and they would do some stuff like that, like some YouTube. Like they literally just had the show as it was, and then you go to King of the Hill on YouTube, and they just have all kinds of content with just the characters doing.
Or Twitch, them just sitting around
anything,
doing nothing.
Just doing
real quick,
random
did we
stuff.
decide what age Bobby would be? Would he still be 13?
College. No, he would be graduating college. He would be graduated. He would be at like either just finishing college or be out of college for a year or two.
Assuming Bobby got into college.
Yeah, we said he was a cheerleading instructor
They never said
at UT.
Bobby was stupid. They never said Bobby was dumb.
No, he's not dumb, but would he want to go to college?
I think Bobby would go to college because Con Jr. would want to go to college.
That's the only reason he would ever
and
go.
I think that they would make concessions, and the concession would be if she got 3 scholarships to go to Ivy League schools, she would take a state school that Bobby could get into just so they could go to school and have the experience together. I also saw this video on YouTube that I thought was pretty funny since we're talking about aged up TV shows, things like that. Well, somebody had made a YouTube video of Forrest Gump. and what it would be like if Forrest Gump was in like, you know, modern times. And it was funny because it put him in different places in like the situations that have happened. And one of them was the January 6th thing. And
I
it was
knew you
like,
were going there.
And it was so funny because he was just sitting there and he was like, and they said, there's something like, oh, and I came to this get together here at the White House or here in Washington
Capitol,
D.C. And they just started acting crazy or something like that. I don't know. It was really, really good. It's a really funny video. But
Forrest would be a guy to try to help. Forrest would have been the guy to try to help the officers and the guards, like get them to safety.
Sure.
Well, we already, he would have been like, or you would have seen Jenny like getting trampled, and he would have just started just tossing people. Not Jenny. I gotta get to how he ran through the Washington pool in front of the Washington Monument, or the whatever the pool's called, the Lincoln Pool, Washington Pool, whatever the.
Real quick,
the reflection pool.
The reflection pool, yeah.
Of the like avenues for influencing, because I don't know if you guys covered this. I was doing stuff.
Yeah, I know. We told everybody.
Oh yeah. Did you guys cover what Bob? You said Bobby would be a cheerleader.
Yeah, what I said. Okay, so what I covered is that so I don't think that Hank would have stayed in Arlen forever. I think what happens is Bobby goes off to college. When Bobby goes off to college, him and Peggy sell because Arlen's dead. What does he have to be in Arlen? Arlen at this point, all the kids are moving out of Arlen. And this is what happened to a lot of small towns in Texas at one point. Like between our parents' generation and Generation Z, like our generation left. Yeah. Now that our generation is hitting their 30s and 40s, they're moving back to the small towns. So what my prediction was is that now that Hank had raised his family, Bobby's off to college, Arlen's dead, all the small mom and pop stores are dead.
Yeah. It's nothing but Megalomarts, everything is gone. It's nothing but Starbucks.
That's it. It's just Starbucks. It's just all these fast food joints. Sugarfoot's is gone. The owner of Sugarfoot's is dead. You know, it's just like everything's aged to a point to where Hank's like, all right, I'm going to Florida. If I'm going to have to deal with all this stuff, I'm going to Boca Raton for the weather, and I'm hanging out in Florida for the remainder. Well, what I said is Hank goes to go do that, and they kind of live out their existence down there, have a good time or whatever. Well, Bobby at this time is at UT in Austin because isn't it? There's one in Arlington too, right?
Yeah,
UT in Arlington. Well, he's in Austin or Arlington,
UTSA.
whatever one. Yeah, well, let's just say he's in Austin because that's where the main campus is. So Bobby's in Austin at the main campus there in UT Austin, and he's there as a cheerleader. That's what got him in as a like he goes through high school as a cheerleader and all that, and he gets a cheerleading scholarship to go full time there, and he doesn't have to pay or anything to go to UT as a cheerleader. And Connie, she has scholarships to 4 or 5 different like East Coast Ivy League schools, and she turns them down and instead goes to be with Bobby because she also could get a 100% ride scholarship there.
What I was gonna ask you guys is, instead of going to college.
Yeah.
I think it's all speculatory. I like Gressy's idea.
Yeah.
I think if this is modern day, I think Bobby drops out of college if he ever goes. Do you think he becomes a Twitch streamer, a YouTuber?
Yeah. I think he would dabble in.
I think he would definitely try to be an influencer.
I think he would dabble in some of that. So if he didn't go the route like I'm talking about, and even if TikTok. He did, definitely TikTok. And even if he did, so like you could even weave that in with my idea.
Weave it in.
So while he's in college doing this cheerleading stuff, he does TikTok videos of his cheerleading stuff, gains like a following doing that, makes YouTube videos, but he also, while he's at home at night, he streams. So it's like he's got Mountain Dew all around him, XQC style streaming, and it's like
Gamer
Bobby
fuel.
Hill. Yeah, gamer fuel everywhere, like, 2 liters of piss at his feet, whatever. But I feel like Bobby does both. Like he goes and does the cheerleading thing, but then he also, like, I feel like as he gets older and once he gets into high school, he starts to do more physical things, and Bobby kind of like fills out into like as a man, you know what I mean? He's a boy right now, because I don't feel like Hank was fully, like when he was Bobby's age, he was probably the same way, pudgy and awkward, because he was super, super insecure by being screamed at his dad all the time. So where Bobby isn't insecure, Hank was insecure. So I feel like once Hank came out of his shell and he was in high school, I feel like Bobby does the same thing, but Bobby already has this extreme confidence. So when he goes into high school, Bobby is automatically popular because he has the confidence. Now he's built now. He's fleshed out a little bit more. I don't know. I don't like to think of Bobby as like this completely awkward. Like people think of him as just like awkward weirdo. Where I don't think he is. I think he's like ends up being like he could be a well-rounded individual because he doesn't care.
He probably also carries around a blend jet.
Yeah, he probably carries around a blend jet that probably has aliens on it. I really liked that there were options. The blend jet with these aliens from
the little
Toy
green
Story.
men.
Toy Story.
Yeah.
Yep.
You had to think about it, Rusty.
I had to think about
Are
it for
you
a second,
kidding
yeah.
me?
Well, because I wanted to
You're
just
actually
do the
pissing
noise.
me off right now.
I just wanted to do the noise that they did. That's all I could think about when I look at them. Yeah.
All right, so I think we've come to the decision that the Hills are just fine.
Yeah.
They're gonna roll with it.
I don't think it's and that's the thing is everybody speculates and everybody gets in their feelings and everybody's like, oh well, this show sucked, this show sucked, this show sucked. Well, you know what? Reboots sometimes do suck because you go into it with the preconceived notion of what you've already watched.
Yeah.
You got to leave the expectations aside. Expect nothing in life, and you'll never be disappointed.
What a positive thought.
So just don't expect anything from it. Well, that's the thing is when you're looking at media or anything like that, you got to look at it with a completely. This is
unbiased.
Created.
Why are you starting to
unbiased.
sound like my girlfriend a lot right now?
Well, because me and you discussed about hating the idea of a Toy Story 5 or a Shrek 5, but you know what? How we talked about
I'll
that.
take it.
Yeah.
They're in discussions of a Shrek 5, maybe.
I'll take
fuck
Shrek 5
with
over
Shrek
Toy Story 5.
I'll take
I'll take Toy Story 5.
I'll take 20 Shreks over another Toy Story.
Oh, I'll take it all day long.
Well, only if it's like all original voice actors. When they did this new Buzz movie,
you can't do that because Don Rickles is dead.
Well, as many of them as you can get. Yeah.
So
so is
what's her
Varney.
name?
Jim Varney's dead too. Yeah.
A lot of them are dead.
Well, I mean, get back as many
That
of them
doesn't
as you
stop
can.
anybody, though.
Well, they ended up using the voice too. I think the guy that did
Rickles was all it was all pre-recorded stuff.
Yeah,
and
that's
they were
what I'm
able
saying.
to use it to
You could
kind of make his
probably do
voice.
the same thing.
And now with the AI stuff, you just train one of the bots to talk like you, and there you go, you're done.
And there's enough Don Rickles footage out there to pump into an AI teaching that you could probably get a whole new 60-minute set.
That's how the world ends with Don Rickles.
Don Rickles
AI,
doing 60-minute sets,
insulting people that don't even exist anymore.
No, his I love the roast comedy though.
No, it's good
I've been
stuff.
watching a
You guys are
lot
gonna
of Kill
hate
Tony.
me
What's
for
up?
what even though I just blasted Rusty.
What's that?
Who the fuck is Don Rickles?
Don Rickles was an old school comedian. He was part of kind of the Rat Pack with Dean Martin and all those guys.
Sammy Davis Jr.
But he was an insult comic. So
roast
he would
comic.
start by saying, "Hey, it looks like you're wearing the hat that came off your mother's grave," or something, something like that, right?
or like, hey, you look like a gay marionette.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't even make any sense. It just sounds like an
it's
insult.
funny,
He
yeah.
was best friends with Bob Newhart. You know who Bob Newhart is? Okay.
USO guy, right?
Bob Newhart, a very funny comedian from, it started in the 60s, I believe. Had the show Bob Newhart Show, where he was a shrink. And then later in the late 80s, he had the show Newhart, where he managed this bed and breakfast in Maine or somewhere. And the coolest thing I ever saw Bob Newhart do was at the end of the run of the show Newhart, he woke up at the end of it in his bed from the original Bob Newhart show, and it was all a dream. So it was very
that's
funny.
a good joke.
Very
That's
funny.
a good joke,
With his
yeah.
original wife from the show and everything. It was
pretty
fantastic. Yeah. Before anybody else could do that, he did it.
Yeah, that's pretty good. No, Bob Newhart. Yeah, those old guys.
Super
are
funny,
some good, funny, dry humor.
guy.
A lot of that humor is dry. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think we solved that problem. Hank Hill is fine in the year 2023 and 2024.
Yeah,
So.
he makes it.
All right, tell them where they can find us.
You can find us at Linktree, linktr.ee/BWAAA-KOTH, BWAAA-KOTH. There's 3 A's. And you can find us pretty much on any social media. I'm going to try to get y'all better content on there. I haven't...
We'll get
once
it.
we get the videos
get
and
there.
stuff going, I'll have more content to share. And
Do you
stuff.
guys like feet pictures? I can give you those right now.
I could do that, yeah.
Lots of feet pictures.
I don't have socks on right now, so my feet
Yum.
probably pretty sweaty.
All right, guys. Well, join us again next time, and have a great weekend. We will see you again soon.
We Matanye.
We Matanye.
That's the blend
Indeed.
jet. That was a blend jet. We Matanye.
Yeah, I got it.
We.
Bye.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.